Should be unmuted now. We'll see. We got a whole new mic system set up going on, so if anybody can let me know real quick, I guess I'll turn up volume and see how it sounds. Should be unmuted now. Hey, cool. Right on. I appreciate it. Thank you, good sir. You get points, a purple sticker, 10,000 points to you. All right. Let's take a look here. See what I was gonna. What I was gonna discuss here. Totally just lost my my notes. Boom, backwards and upside down. Holy cow. All right, let's see here. Who all do we got in here? Blockchain money. Welcome, my friend. Appreciate it. Thank you for saying it sounds good. Cypher Wexney Cruss. Probably butchering that, saying that wrong. But thank you guys for joining in. What do we got right now? There's about 5 people or so. So let's go ahead and kind of get this started here. Let's see here. So I got some notes and I got it set up so that I could at least do a screen kind of casting, but we'll see where it goes here. Not really on a time frame or anything like that, but if you guys have any questions, you got some stuff, make sure you jump in. I'll try my best to comment and chat and obviously talk to you guys on here as well. Just got some food, ate most of it. I used to stream a lot and I know people hate when you're eating food on stream, but I'm starving Marvin today, so gonna have to bear with me. I'm gonna drink some drinks and eat some fries and we're gonna have a good time. But alrighty, everybody, welcome in. And give me a second here while people roll in. If you're coming later and you're watching this replay, welcome as well. Today's live stream is gonna be an open, honest, adult conversation about Texit coin. This is not financial advice. I'm not telling anyone to buy. I'm not telling anyone to sell. What I'm going to do today is talk about what people are saying, both good and bad, and sharing what I personally see, some of the questions that keep coming up, and what I think actually matters. So hopefully you guys are here, you join this, make sure you share it out to your friends. If you're here just to hype things, awesome. If you're here to just criticize, that's also cool. But let's try to keep things as factual and respectful as possible. We'll see if we can do that, right? So a quick chat check-in. Type 1 if you're currently mining. Type 2 if you're researching or you're on the fence. And type number 3 if you're skeptical or critical. I want this to be a real conversation, not just an echo chamber. So if you guys want to comment in and say some stuff, make sure you go ahead and do so. And I'll keep an eye out on the chat here. And we'll try to progress to this and have fun. Let's see here. Blockchain money coming in with the 1. Gotta love that. Gotta love it. Alrighty. So what is the Texit coin plan, basically in plain English? So let's just start simple, because that's the easiest way. There's a lot of people that are new to crypto here, and a lot of stuff seems to confuse them pretty quickly. One of the biggest problems I see online is that everyone talks past each other because they're not even talking about the same thing. So in plain English, Texit coin also known as TXC, is presented as a Texas branded mining centric cryptocurrency. It's a project that leans heavily on community participation, education, and internal programs rather than just hype charts and memes, which is good. The public face of the project is Bobby Gray or Robert Gray, and a lot of the project's direction, training, and messaging comes through long form presentations and community calls that are driven through Zoom and miner meetings. So there's a lot of interesting stuff going on there. You can stay busy, and if you're not on those, you can always check out Team Texit Coin because they show recaps. Now, here's an important question that already divides people. Is Texit Coin primarily a cryptocurrency? Is it a mining ecosystem? Is it a business opportunity? Or is this a community movement? Because depending on which one you think it is, your expectations will be, and I won't even say might be, but they will be completely different. So you got to ask yourself a few things. If you had to explain Texit Coin to a stranger in one sentence, what would you say? I'm waiting. What do you guys got, chat? Wex is up in there blowing up the numbers. But that's all right. That's the biggest thing, is that most people can't communicate what Texit Coin is in a sentence. But that's all right. What has been happening lately? Well, let's talk about why interest has spiked again recently, which is pretty cool. Over the past few weeks, there's been tons of new update videos, renewed community activity, more questions around wallets, transfers, and pricing, and more commentary on YouTube and Reddit. Anytime a project enters a quieter or more volatile phase, discussions often intensify, especially from people who are either heavily invested or heavily skeptical, or they're paid. So one thing I'll say honestly is people want clearer, shorter, more concrete updates. I think there's a lot of blabbing and BS that goes on with some of the stuff that's being put out. And not everyone wants a 2-hour presentation. Some people want bullet points. Some people want dashboards. Some people want proof of work, not explanations of a vision. That mismatch alone creates a lot of tension, even before price comes into the conversation, which it always does. So chat, do you prefer long form presentations or short weekly updates? All you got to do is type long or short. Hopefully you guys are hope you guys are just super long. What's one of the strongest pro cases or supporter views that are out there? Well, let's steal. Let's make the bullish argument. Meaning, let's present it as strongly and fairly as possible. This is what supporters are usually going to say. Blockchain Money says either. Now, first, is that community focus. Texit Coin emphasizes people learning, participating, mining, and building together, not just trading. Second, you have an earned distribution. Supporters argue that mining participation creates commitment and it filters out purely speculative behavior. Third, you have that Texas identity. Now, whether you love it or you hate it, the Texas branding creates a strong narrative and a sense of identity. Fourth, you've got education and some structure. There are training calls, there are leadership concepts, and there are internal programs that supporters see as an organization more so than chaos. That could be said completely the other way around, though, too. It just depends on who you speak to. Now, here's maybe where it gets a little interesting. Some of the most popular Texit coin videos online are titled things like, "Is this too good to be true?" Honest review. I was skeptical, but those videos drive attention. Even when they're mixed or cautious, people are driven to those clickbait hypey titles. Something I've tried to stay away from for the most part, but occasionally it is pretty fun to throw that out there. So here's a question for you. What made you personally interested, and what would have to happen in the next 90 days for you to feel more confident about Texit coin? Wex says, "My thumbs hurt, haha." You're probably, I see those little emojis getting splattered everywhere, so I appreciate it. You're gonna have to get like those back massagers, just go to town. So the strongest con case, what about a critic view? Let's flip the table. If you believe in something, you don't avoid criticism. You understand it. Here are the most common serious concerns I've seen online. One, which is pretty prominent, is the on-chain visibility. People are asking, why can't I track this like other cryptocurrencies? Where is the public blockchain data? What the hell exactly am I holding? Whether those questions have answers or not, or they're even serious questions, are questions themselves. So it can get a little tricky. When you're looking at a centralization concern, which a lot of people are, Blockchain Money says more detailed information needs to be on the website. That's true, I do agree. So some critics argue that the system is perhaps too closed, too dependent on internal controls. It's not decentralized in the traditional crypto sense. But again, that doesn't mean automatically that it's a scam, but it does mean expectations need to be more clear. And when I'm talking clear, I'm talking crystal fucking clear. I don't get what all the confusion is about with some of this stuff, but sometimes there is a giant amount of confusion going. One thing that people are confused about is the MLM or referral accusations program kind of style setup. And this is probably a big one for a lot of people. At basically any time referrals exist, commissions will exist, referrals and commissions, and a training structure will exist. So people will often compare it to an MLM model. Some do this unfairly. Some do it because they're lazy. Some raise legitimate structural questions, right? But the key issue is where value ultimately comes from. And part of that could be, say, security and restriction concerns, which I know a lot of people are interested about. And Blockchain Money posted in the chat, said, "We are supporters to be building the world's biggest mine, so we show the showing videos and photos on the website, so when people visit, they can see we are actually building something." Yes, that's true. And Texit coin actually has come a long way, especially, like I said, a couple different points or in different people's in chats. I got onto Texit coin 4 months after Bobby even created it. So not the very first or, number one person to join, but I got in pretty early, all things considered. And they started out with very little mining equipment, right? They have the goal, obviously, of building 33 to 35 big, huge mining locations across the state of Texas. But when I got in, it was, I think, maybe a 6 or a 12 bay system that they were running back behind Bobby's house. I think there was an A9 or an L9 or whatever the hell at the McKinney facility itself. And then later we ended up getting another substation brought in. So now there's multiple things that are going across. Whoa. And everything's working a little bit better, but they're still pretty far from where they plan to be, possibly. But what they do have right now is pretty impressive, and all the extra stuff that they have stored up, which is what they show a lot of, actually, is things waiting to be actually hooked up and built and all that stuff that are sitting in storage. So there's quite a bit of stuff. There's tons of things that could be shown, and actually they don't show a lot of it. I tried to do a little bit of a fair job about showing some of the stuff when I was able to do the Ranger Roundup that happened in Texas for the first time last year. But I think a lot of those videos, since I've made so many more now, that they're just kind of washed out in the system. You got to scroll around quite a bit to actually see where they might be. And in all fairness, unless it's just me, it's like I'm being ghosted on YouTube, because a lot of people don't even see my channel, and I've been doing it for a long time. Maybe not a long time, but pretty long. Pretty long. So talking about those security and restriction concerns that we were starting to touch on, there are also users reporting wallet errors, transfer issues, and confusion around selling or moving those coins. Whether those are technical, temporary, or just misunderstood, oftentimes it's met from silence from the company, and that creates suspicion. So chat, a question for you. What evidence would satisfy you of on-chain transparency, or what do you think real decentralization means to you? What level of transparency do you expect from any crypto project? You know, if you do have an idea or an input, throw it in the chat down below. I think we're going to get some cool responses once the video is actually up and posted. But what's actually matters going forward? So what can we do to keep things positive and in the right path? So instead of arguing emotionally, here's what I think actually matters. One, we need clear, repeatable updates. We need simple explanations for new users. We need consistent wallet and transfer functionality. And we need honest acknowledgement of criticism. Measurable progress, not just motivation. I don't need a carrot and a stick. No, I don't even like carrots, and you can't beat me with that stick, so good luck. Projects don't die from criticism. They die from avoiding it. So chat, what's one thing you'd like to see improved immediately? If there was something that Texit Coin could change, what would you like done? And I think we'll get some pretty good answers from that later. But if we do have a chance, let's do a little Q&A maybe. And then we can take a look at some charts and see if anybody does have any questions. That way we can talk to you guys and get some answers and all that jazz. Let's see here. Blockchain Money says, I would like to see the movement of all tokens on the blockchain. I think in all fairness, if you are to go to the Blockchain Explorer, you can see basically all the transactions, but you will have to search for them individually. So depending on how much work you want to do, may or may not be easy to find. But to my understanding, I believe you can. You just got to look in the right place. Still a fry here. So if anybody has any questions on either buying or selling, maybe wallets, legitimacy questions, price liquidity stuff, mining experiences, leadership, communication, anything like that, go ahead and reach out and share that with everybody. If you appreciate calm, rational crypto discussions, hit that like, subscribe, and drop your hardest questions below. I'll be waiting. Pretty good fry. I think Wendy's has some of the better fries available. Luckily, they're just right across the street, so that's always good. I'm going to try to switch this over and do a screen share, and we'll take a look at some of the exchanges and see how they're doing today. So let's give this a whirl. Give me a sec. Let me see if I can put this mic on there. That is a doo-doo, so I'm apologize, guys. Sorry about that. Let's see here. Yeah. Hey, Bright Eagle Coaching, welcome. When you went pick to pick, we lost audio. Yeah, I was just started setting this up today, so I apologize. I'm going to see if I can click over to the screen share and then add the audio input capture device, and then I should be good, because I wanted to share what the heck I was talking about. Ah, man. Yep. Yeah, give me a sec just to try to do this. Stuff I should have got done earlier. Can you hear me now? Let's see. You guys got me now? Mido Crypto. Looking to see, just waiting for a quick confirmation here. Yep, cool. I got a confirmation. Sweet. Thanks for hanging on, guys. So we'll kind of go over what I was talking about before I goofed up everything and forgot to add a mic because I'm awesome. Let me adjust this so I could see my chat here. I'll bonk this mic around. I might just hold it. I got a really cool, fun mic. All right, Blockchain Money says yes. We got Mido, got Bright Eagle Coaching. We got 7 people in the house, so thanks for joining in, guys. If you missed the very front end portion, you can always rewatch the chat, or we can touch back on some points later if you'd like. But currently, we've got Texit coin pulled up, and I know that my little video window there is pretty large. I'll adjust it maybe a little smaller in the future, but currently Texit coin is at $2.02. I'm going to switch this over to the 24-hour view because that's where things are actually positive. We're going to be sitting at 21%. We were at 22% earlier for the 24-hour, but that is incredible. You could tell we dropped off pretty sharp on the charts, but that is good growth. So if there was anybody that was doing buying or selling yesterday, that might have been pretty good for you. Do you want to go back to $4? $4 is a pretty good price. Yeah, I would like $4. That would be pretty cool. I'm not doing anything to stop it from reaching $4 personally. However, I'm not on the exchanges buying either, so I'm not making it go up. What I am doing is this, sharing it with all the world so that somebody later can decide if they would like to buy or get a mine, or just say this, we're all kooky and we're crazy, which we are. But we got a 21% gain over the 24 hours. That is pretty freaking impressive. You can see we are trading flat for just a little bit, and you see a little bit more of that when you take a look into the 1 week view. This was before it kind of went down. We took a little bit of a dump there, and then right towards this bottom right hand corner, that's where we started to rise up. And what makes that really cool is that if you were able to catch the video yesterday, where we talked about where the resistance was and where things are, at least on Dex Trade for the moment, there was around $33,000 in, or not dollars, sorry, but 33,000 roughly Texit coin that was sitting to be sold at the $2 mark, which I thought was pretty impressive that we have surpassed that. So there was a lot of good buying there. Somebody obviously thought the price was awesome, and they got a good bag of it. So pretty darn cool. When we were talking about it yesterday, that kind of goes, and I haven't looked again today, so maybe it's a little different, but if we can go from 2 to that $3 mark, once we've smashed that, then there's pretty much no barriers or resistance in sight. So the coin could shoot up. So if you do have something speculative that you think might hit, that might be an interesting one to throw in there, you know, putting in a 515 or a 412 or, you know, a 326 might net you something cool. And just if in a short pop, you never know. So it's always cool if you can do that. But volume is down 0.55% over the 24 hour. That's about 431,000. So still pretty impressive. Blockchain Money says it'll get there, and I do think it will. I think right now we're in a slump. I don't think it's because of the market. I think it's because of some other factors. But if we can get those things fixed and settled as we come out of the holidays and bypass the lunar holiday, then I think we'll start seeing some pretty good growth. Holders doesn't really make much sense for this. This is wrapped Texit coin. They're big holders there. There is 61,000.03 million Texit coin in supply currently, And if you're newer to the project and you're not aware of what the max supply is programmed to be over its lifetime, that'll be 353.39 million Texit coin that it'll give birth to. You can see that we are on quite a bit of exchanges currently. Uniswap V2, MEXC, Bitmart, XT.com, which is a newer one for me. I'm kind of unfamiliar with them. DexTrade, reserve data unavailable. Biconomy, Pinex, UZX, and reserve data unavailable. Got JU.com and Picol. That's reserve data unavailable as well for that one. That is 10. Says we got another page, nothing on there. Not too bad. That's pretty darn cool though. Blockchain Money says, yes. Zane, good morning. Zane, I believe I haven't sent your coins out to you yet, but I do have my laptop over there. So it will get cracked open after the stream probably, and then we'll send some stuff your way, my friend. But yeah, $2 is great, and thank you for joining us. We got 8 people in here, so not too bad for the first official actual like stream. Let's take a look at some of the news, if there is news. Texit coin news. I think that's regular jazz here. Whoa. Yeah, I don't really like it on there. But if you take a look, and I know it's probably covered by my picture, community sentiment is currently at 91% bullish. 9% is bearish. So that's the lowest I've seen it in quite a while, unfortunately. Wex coming in with those hundreds. Appreciate it, my friend. Let's go ahead and take a look at Texit coin here. And again, I know some of the screen will be covered up, but currently looking at a total of 240,259 blocks. That's 9 blocks less than yesterday. 0 new blocks since our last reward. It's taken us 51 seconds longer than our previous block. Members sitting at 55,716, so that's positive 7,721 over this month, which is still pretty good. They are starting to pick things up. Hash rate is pretty consistent. Do have had a little bit of a dip off recently. I'm not sure why, but hopefully that'll be resolved. When you're looking at actual hash power, that green bar is going to represent what's been purchased, and then this orange is what has been sold. The use of funds chart, and you can go over everything, but currently promotions 10.47 million, and that is at 7.47%. Commission, which is 40.18%, is about 56.34 million. So that's up there. When you look at income, which is only 31.78%, that's 44.56 million. At 7.39%, which I think should be bumped. There are so many more things that Texit coin can be doing to increase the price other than having parades. Cool parade though. But that's $10.37 million in liquidity sitting unused. The mine is at 13.52 million, and that is roughly 9.64%. There's more money going to the mine than there is to support the price of the coin. Similar in promotion, that's 10.47 million at 7.47%, which is also more than what's going into our liquidity. Unfortunately, yeah, just how things work. Look at TXC shared on the chart here. Had some kind of crazy Willy Wonka dips. Had a little bit of a rise, and then again we've had a little bit of a dip, but things have started to work its way back up. In this bottom right hand corner, miners by country, other 5,050. United States of America, there's 28,719. New Zealand, 1,248. Australia, 1,236. They're actually keeping up. Texas seems to think they're special. They're at 15,308. I remember when Bobby said the whole project can be grown off of Texans only. They don't need anybody else. That's why they didn't want to spend any money anywhere else. But unfortunately, I think it's proven at 24.48% that you need people outside of Texas to get your stuff done. Florida, I don't know why Florida just counts again as itself, but that's 4,155. Somebody there probably paid a bunch of money to Bobby and put that other BS up there so they feel good. TXC shared, there's a little chart there, like I was saying, that's looking pretty good. Revenue and commission, this is the only chart that Bobby says he looks at, and if he's looking at this chart, he should be pretty unhappy or scared, honestly. Ant Skull, hello my bro, I just woke up. Welcome my friend, I hope you have a phenomenally wonderful day. How's the weather out there? But like I was saying, things were looking pretty spicy. Took a little sell off, kicked back up, got another little bump, that afterburner hit, and then we've just kind of taken a dump lately. 1.73 million in revenue, 865,000 in commission. So that's pretty low. Let's take a look at month. That's sucking. Let's look at the quarter. Not bad for the quarter when you compare everything else, but yeah, looking at the month in terms like people were, what are we at here? 3.7 million. People were almost doing better back before June, May, June, July. They were doing some kick-ass numbers there. If you take a look at the total of miners so far, that is 10. We had 137, 141, so not too bad. The numbers are slowly starting to kick up there, which is good. Average per miner is starting to kind of settle back out, and this is on the day. Goes back to November. Go on a week. Pretty good rise in total miners there. Gotta keep in mind I keep blocking windows probably. The more you zoom out, the more impressive it looks, honestly. Latest rewards, and then top earners and top recruiters. Again, I got Joe and Jason, two of the biggest guys out of the top 5 people in the company are on my team, so appreciate you guys. Let's go ahead and take a look at Bitmart here. Bitmart's going to be up 2.06448, so trading at $2.06. That's positive 22.49%, 24-hour high of $2.08. So they beat that $2 mark. They did have a 24-hour low of $1.50. The 24-hour volume was about $131.6 thousand in USDT, and the channels are looking pretty good when you take a look at all the candles there. A lot of them are actually pretty good. You can see some of them topped up and they've came back down, but that's looking pretty healthy. I do like the looks of that, so that is pretty darn cool. Bull start on TXC. Yeah, you never know. That's kind of the cool thing about crypto. It can be potentially down one day and then the next, boom, it's popping right back up. So you got to love that. Take a look, I guess, real quick at maybe the rest of the market here. Yeah, it's kind of Christmas treed, like I was thinking. There is a lot of red and green on there. So, I don't know where the heck I went, but if you did look on here on this right hand side, there's actually not a lot of stuff. You look at meme core, that's got a decent rise. Everything else for the most part is either pretty, I mean, it's up and down, right? But it's either pretty flat or it's got kind of a downturn to it. So it's kind of cool that Texit coin today is actually doing a little bit better than it has been doing in the past, which is nice. So we can go pop over to Dex Trade. Ant School. Hey, I was always curious about that. Miner number 49,537. Right on. So you were just below that 50,000 cutoff. That is really cool. It's a good position to have. Let's go ahead and we'll go search for Texit coin here. Ooh, Dex Trade is always my favorite and one of the most surprising. If you see that, look at that dip and then whoop, it's almost like a little horseshoe right there. Speed 100H, 100 hash, right on, brother. We're gonna get that grown for you. But we've had some good candle works. Looks like that actually got up to about 250 currently on Dex Trade. This is where the magic's happening right now, sitting at $2.30. That's a positive change of 37.07%, which is, that's incredible. 24-hour high. I was very close, $2.48. 24-hour low, it dropped down to $1.61 today. So Dex Trade has been super healthy, which is awesome. 24-hour volume of TXC being moved is about 64,000, and the 24-hour volume of USDT is 147,000. But yeah, looking at that chart there, that is pretty darn cool. Gotta love that. That's a lot of good growth that we've had today. Probably amongst the best that I've seen so far. So Chad, I guess if you guys are you mainly holding or are you buying and selling on exchanges? And if you are on the exchanges, which ones do you prefer to use? What do you find the easiest? Truthfully, Dex Trade I think is one of the funnest because there's so many people on there. You don't have to buy different coins to be able to trade like their own special token. Again, obviously you don't want to be breaking any laws or rules or whatnot, but it's pretty easy for anybody to join in. Income is 0.38, 0.45 TXC. Right on. Yeah, it is back at $2 today, which is pretty cool. I'm definitely very excited about that. Hopefully it continues to grow. As much as people like to think that I'm negative or against the project, I think that's more or less just because they're newer and they haven't seen actually where I've been or where I'm coming from or what I've done in the project. But I definitely want the project to succeed and grow. I don't want to have to go to a laser tattoo removal artist in a year and be like, hey, take this stupid tattoo that failed off of my leg, because that sucks. Don't want to be a loser like that. I want to have a cool tattoo that while I'm walking around a theme park or something, I get to capture like 3 or 4 kids chasing me or walking behind me trying to scan my leg to see my wallet and how much cryptocurrency I hold, which is super cool and fun to me. So yeah, I hope the project just continues to bump up and go incredible places, because if it does, that will be amazing, and that's where it should be going. Blockchain Money says Dex Trade and MEXC. I haven't been on MEXC yet, but I've heard good things. I think there's a lot of people that do trade on there, and they're having a good time with it. One of the, maybe it's PieNX, but one of them has bots, and I've got a couple buddies that they're not necessarily new to crypto, but they're new to bot trading, and they're having a lot of fun with that. And they said that they're actually doing pretty good. So I don't encourage anybody to do anything crazy, but if they've got a demo mode, or maybe you've just got some extra coins and stuff you're willing to possibly lose, maybe check that out. Bright Eagle Coaching says, I'm selling 90% of all my coins because I need the money. I sell on Dex Trade. That's fair. I can't knock you there. In all fairness, if you need some money and you've got it in cryptocurrency, it's available right now, and you're okay with taking it out, then I can't fault you. I don't think that makes you a silly or dumb person. I think that's pretty logical. My question for you is more or less, are you just doing a market sell, or do you have it set at a limit? Are you looking to get a specific price? Are you willing to wait, or do you just want to get your money right now? How do you feel? What are you looking at when you're thinking about that? So I appreciate you for posting that in the chat, and let me know what your thoughts are on there. I'm gonna check out my buddy's site. If you guys haven't seen this, I wonder, I'll have to see. He'll probably have to send it to me. So we used to have Team Colorado. Now, potentially this is still it. I'm checking it out actually right now, maybe for the first time since it's been done, but this is Colorado Texit Coin Team. Yep, I want to say that there's another one out there now. It actually looks pretty cool, but if you guys do get a chance to go, still goes to my good friend and fellow miner, Mike. Get out of this chat here real quick. If you do have a question too, that'll go directly to an email that he can get you guys answers about. But if you're in Colorado, this will have links to stuff that's going on, meetings and events. Actually, I know they just did one a little bit ago. So here's actually some cool stuff coming up. December 17th will be Texit informational meeting, December 17th in Johnstown, Colorado. There's a Texit Coin holiday party at 6 p.m. There's a Texit Coin coffee and crypto, so you can learn about Texit Coin and you can get obliterated on Makihito shots or whatever it is you drink. They've got Texit Coin at the Tanner Gun Show. That will be December 13th, as well as one December 20th. So that's pretty cool. Having a Texit Coin meeting in Greenwood Village, December 18th. And it looks like they got a few more meetings in Greenwood Village. Those are going to be on January 7th, 21st, and on the 5th. So Mike's staying pretty busy. Unfortunately, if I can, I'll help out in these events in any way possible, but Bobby's taking my commissions away from me. So even if I add people or other people add people, I don't make any money from it anymore. So, that kind of is doo-doo, but that's all right. Bright Eagle Coaching says, right now selling once a week on Fridays, just at market price. This week is a bit sad, hoping for a better week next week. I do hope so as well, and hopefully we get to experience it a lot quicker than I think we will. Wexney, lost badges number 1, 2, and number 3 from YouTube on my account. I guess you just got to be a little bit more crazy and active on there, my friend. But I appreciate you so far. It's cool to have you in and joining and chatting and checking things out as we do here. It's actually going to take a look at back to CMC here and then browse some of their exchanges. Go back into Texit coin here. It's actually doing really good today. Sitting at 208 now. That's pretty impressive. The comeback is really good. We've got a message from Blockchain Money. What happens to people on your team? Do they still get their commissions? So yes, as far as I'm aware of, I've not heard anybody say to me or that has vocalized anything that they have been affected. So far, the only person to be punished for doing nothing is me. I just don't receive commissions, but everybody else below me, if they are doing work and they're adding people and doing all that jazz, then yeah, they can get commissions. They're pretty happy right now. I'm sure it would be a different story if the company decided to block some other miners' commissions because they were friends with me or on my team. I don't think that would work good for them. They'd probably get sued. So far everybody's been good. I think the only people that have the potential to get in trouble are people that speak in a negative light about Texit coin. And as you can see, I'm one of those people, unfortunately. And it was probably inevitable because this isn't a hype channel. My goal wasn't set out day one to be like, shill. Oh my gosh, do this, buy this, do this, blah, 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 blah. It was set up more because I thought that Texit coin was a scam. And I figured if anything, there would be two possible results. That one, I would start a channel and I would show everybody what's going on and all the bad craziness would come out and I warn everybody of the project and save the day. Pretty cool. So far, for the most part, it's turned out to be the opposite. I've been mining well over a year. I've been paid pretty much every single day on time for the most part, minus commissions. Coins have always shown up when they're supposed to. But you know, it could be worse. Fessy, welcome. Says good evening, everyone. Good evening to you as well. It is about 7:54 here in Colorado. Not too bad. But yeah, everybody else is still getting commissions, so that is working out good for them. Go ahead, take a look. Take a look at MEXC. Yeah, no problem, Fessy. Hopefully you're having a wonderful day so far. Good Lord. Pop-ups everywhere. Let's go ahead and pop in TXC here. We are on MEXC. Trading pair is USDT. Let's see how well they're doing. Positive in the green as well. Today TXC is listing at, let's say confirm here. Cool. Come on, pop-ups, baby. Listing at 2.066. That's going to be positive 13%. So that's pretty darn good. 24-hour high was $2.10. 24-hour low, $1.65, $1.63 correction. The 24-hour volume of TXC today was 31.28 thousand, and the 24-hour volume of USDT a little bit higher at 56.6 thousand. This probably has, even though it doesn't look as impressive as some of the other ones, This is on a 15-minute chart, so that's some of the impressiveness, but you can see that's some pretty good gains there. You can see a lot of very tall or long candles. You can see potentially where they were going up and down, but there was 3 solid ones there. Had some sideways trading, got another 3 solid, little sideways, another 3 solid, and then we took kind of a couple more steps, again 3 solid. So if we can get a couple good candles, we might actually see some movement. Doesn't work every single time like that, but typically it's what I kind of notice and see is that if we can get a couple good green candles, we'll see some people doing some good, and then we might see a little sell off. But as long as we can keep that momentum going, then that's all we really need, and things are good and positive. Zoom out and woof, you get a wild story there. This is where trading was just crazy. Big sell-offs, and then it would pop. Big sell-offs, a little sideways, a pop, sell-off, pop, sell-off, pop, sell-off, pop. Kind of rode that down like a little slip and slide. That was probably some of the most action you've seen here. And then we've kind of begun a little scoop. So hopefully we can continue that. Hopefully we got the turbo boosters on and we can blast ourselves out of that little dip there, which will be pretty cool. But the order book's actually really healthy. You can see that on this lower right hand side of the screen. That's moving quick. So I like that. That is a lot more better displayed than Dextrade, which is pretty cool. Go back over to coin market cap. Pop in TXC here again. Let's go take a look at some more exchanges. BitGet. Oh, this has got all the exchanges. I was like, we're not on BitGet. BitGet. Pionex. Haven't checked them out. Let's go ahead and give them a view. Yep, so this is where all these people are doing these trading bots. So if you're interested in bots and you want to use some on Texit coin, you have the option to do that here. Let's check out TXC and see how they're doing in the crypto world today. This is on the 1 hour view. Currently TXC is listing at $2.06. It's a 24-hour change, also in the green, positive 22%, which is pretty cool. Looking at $2.06 for the high, $1.66 for the low, and about $24.4 thousand in volume of USDT today. So that's pretty good as well too. There's not necessarily a whole bunch. You could see the order book, although it's looking good and healthy. There's 59% buy, 41% sell. Just not as much action. You can see the numbers slowly moving there, but they're not like just jumping out all over the place. Take a look at ju.com. This is pretty low volume here. Point and click. All right, well, I don't know what that junk is. That is obviously not where it's supposed to go. So sorry, ju.com. You apparently suck. Check out Pickle. One of those. Let's check out TXC on here. So surprisingly, they look like they're doing good as well. TXC is currently at $2.05 there, trading at 2.0561, 24-hour change, positive 21%. So across the board, whoa, across the board today, we're seeing all sorts of good movement, which is really cool. Do gotta love that. 24-hour high here was $2.06. the 24-hour low, like the last exchange, $1.66. And then what are we at? $2 and, or sorry, 24.4 thousand. Yeah. Not very busy there. Ant Skull says entering TXC into Binance and Bybit trading will definitely make the price explode. If it could get onto Binance, then I think for sure it would be pretty good. We were on Bybit. I think actually Bybit was probably one of the either the first or second exchanges that TXC was on, if I actually recall. And at that point in time, I don't think there was any interest or actions on it. There were, Asbit. We were on there for a while, and unfortunately, there was decent trading going on for about 2 weeks, and then Bobby completely pulled all the liquidity off of that exchange and completely ruined it. So we no longer have AZBit anymore. But that was kind of a cool one, other than the fact that you had to use their tokens. So you had to convert a cryptocurrency over, buy their stuff, and then you could use those tokens to buy whatever you wanted. I think a few people did good on that, but probably most people got burned. But Binance would be pretty cool. I've heard a lot of speculation that they're looking at Kraken. And obviously everyone's always talking about Coinbase, but unfortunately with what I've experienced and a couple other people that I know, I don't think Coinbase is actually going to be an option. They've got addresses that were provided by Texit Coin in their systems that have been tagged for fraud. So I don't think that they'll do business with them in the future unless they can prove that it wasn't fraudulent or whatever's going on. But I'm one of those people that got my Coinbase shut down for a moment. So I can definitely tell you that they're not necessarily huge fans of it. So I think things have picked up and done better now that they have unique QR codes for payments and things like that, because I think what it boiled down to is, unfortunately, there were a lot of people that were using the same code to make payments, and then there were a lot of people that were messing something up, not sending it correctly. They're losing their money, or 2 hours after they signed up, they did some internet Google search and they read that it was a honeypot, and they went and canceled their credit cards and screwed over the company and got out of their shares and did whatever they did. So there's all sorts of stuff going on everywhere, unfortunately. But yeah, Mexi is pretty cool. Do like that exchange. I'm gonna have to take a look at that a little bit more. I think honestly we're on a little bit too many exchanges, but that's all right. Sometimes the more the merrier. UZX just doesn't have much going on at all. Bitmart is really probably one of the most impressive so far. Look at that in DexTrade. DexTrade's just solid. But anyways, I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it a evening, unless you guys have some more questions or there's something expressively that you'd like to talk about on here. I'll stay around for that, but just wanted to get out a couple different bulletin points and then kind of look over this. So like I said, still setting up the live portion of the stream and getting things figured out. So I appreciate you guys bearing with me. And next time I come with a live thing, we'll have a whole nother idea and talk that we can do, and hopefully we'll get some more people in here. If you guys do leave in the comment sections, if there was to be a day or multiple days that are live streams, what days work the best for you and what times actually work the best from you. So either way, we can get those worked out hopefully as best as possible. I know everybody probably will watch it after it's been, live and it's just a replay, but appreciate everybody that has come in so far and have checked things out. There's a little over 7 people in here right now, which is kind of cool. And Skull says that he took his badge. He doesn't understand how to return it. It was a good session, no problem. Thanks, Jonathan. Appreciate your knowledge and creating this community. Thank you very much. Hopefully we can continue to grow it and do a lot of cool things. Really, I feel that the project is still quite new. I think Bobby said, we're 15-20% of where the mine should be maybe, or something like that. So there's a lot to go still, a lot that we could to grow, a lot the company can learn from. So if we can get over a few hurdles, then I think we'll be doing pretty good. It's just going to be a matter of getting over those and seeing more green days, and hopefully that adds up. But yeah, I appreciate you guys for joining in. Super duper cool. Swap that over. I was actually expecting a little bit more people, but that's all right. I think it'll get a little bit bigger, and in all fairness, pretty niche. Pretty sure I'm like super shadow banned on YouTube. But you guys have a wonderful night. Catch you guys later.